Priest needs a ball cup, and the OC get their call up. This is NXT.
Support, no DQ.
Welcome everybody to What's NXT for November 6, 2019. I'm your host, the Rated R reviewer, Stephen Osborne, joined as always by the General, Jerry Slaughter.
Good morning, wrestling fans.
And I think it finally worked this time.
It did. Success.
Speaking of success, tonight's show was really good.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe great. There were great spots in it. But really good. Certainly not a disappointment. We haven't gotten one of those. We've had a lot of disappointing NXT shows. We've been doing this shit for a year.
Yeah.
And I can say, honestly, we've had a lot of disappointing NXT shows. But mostly that's because it used to be pre-recorded. You know, you get 2 or 3 hours in one shot. And so for 3 weeks in a row, you're seeing different stuff. And nobody gets to be on 2 weeks in a row. And shit sucks. Sometimes. In this case, since it's been live and they've been continuing storylines every week and you've been seeing people that you don't usually get to see very often every week, this has been some really good stuff. Tonight was not an exception. They are on a roll.
It was a bit of a mixed bag tonight. We got to see a whole bunch of, I didn't see consider mid-card talent, but they really shone tonight. Everybody left it out there.
I forgot to send Aaron Riff the title of this.
Oh.
So we start the night with breaking news. The invasion into NXT has begun early. Before they even went on broadcast, the OC was outside attacking the Undisputed Era. And at one point, I think it was Luke Gallows threw Bobby Fish into the side of a truck, a flatbed truck, and blood came out of his mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And then he picked him up and chokeslammed him through a table. So, yeah, they're getting a little bit gory.
Yeah.
Obviously, that spot was planned. You know, he was loaded with something in his mouth. Otherwise, if you did that, I don't think you'd follow it up with a chokeslam through a table.
No. I was not saying
You had to be expecting that.
But it looked good, is the thing.
Definitely. They come out to the ring. And we get AJ Styles, Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson in the ring basically saying that, so this is NXT.
Yeah, this is, there's, 3 of the fortunate few that have been able to come into WWE in the past decade without coming up through the NXT system. Indie Star or International Star, whatever. They've all had to come up through NXT first, even if it was just for maybe a month or two, and win some titles only to get called up to WWE. This is one of the situations, this is one of the rare situations where they're actually appearing there for the first time.
So we have a $5 super chat from The Holiday, Chris Mace. Are y'all worried that the main roster will invade War Games? Would y'all like that, or rather them stay away? Depends on how they do it. You can always have the storyline happen without it having to, fuck some shit up, or cause a fucky finish to a match that you want to see concluded decisively. Yeah. Decisively?
Yeah.
And decisively. Anyway.
Yeah.
You can still have them invade. Have them invade after said match ends, kind of thing. You know, you've got all these bodies in the ring. They've all destroyed each other. Now let's come out and pick the bones.
The thing is, I don't think Triple H will allow the actual pay-per-view takeover to be tarnished by interference or anything like that.
NXT is live broadcast now. I don't think Triple H can stop it if that's what Vince wants.
Yeah, but I'm also thinking he's still got full reins on this show.
We got a new member to the chat, Mick Doherty. What's up, lads? How's it going, Mick?
Oh,
must be really early there. It's 1:45 p.m. here in Manchester. Awesome. More UK viewers. Maybe you'll like watching one of somebody from across the pond, Yank's version of reviewing NXT UK. We do that tomorrow.
We're on same time tomorrow.
We're going to try and go live on our channel. If that doesn't work, we're going to have a backup video recording of it so I can just post it later. But we're going to try that again.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's our NXT party where we review NXT UK. It'll be episode 68, I believe.
Episode number 68.
So before we get to that, we are still on NXT. And this brings out Tommaso Ciampa.
Yep.
Who is here to welcome the OC to the main roster.
Yep. That line just kind of sunk in with me, and I'm like, yep, this pretty much true. We've been telling this to people for over a year now. The fact that NXT, this place be if you actually want to wrestle.
Check it, Jerry. Shout out to Israel Diaz, who's joining us live.
Israel!
Our main man.
Yep.
Our greatest of fan.
Anything else that rhymes?
Probably, but not off the cuff. We are going to get later on a a six-man tag. But Tommaso Ciampa comes out alone at first.
Yep.
And he says, well, of course, welcome to the main roster, and he has no problem with them coming in and beating the shit out of Undisputed Era in order to get in there.
It's like, hell, you plan on doing that War Games anyway. It doesn't matter to him. But if they're going to start shitting his ring, that's a problem.
That's a different story. And to his credit, well, AJ Styles gives him credit for having the balls to come out and face him, being the only one, he says.
Yeah.
But no, Keith Lee and Matt Riddle come out. And this is going to set up the six-man tag. This will be the main event for the night. And all in all, worth the wait.
I want to say the fit really hit the shan for that moment.
There are so many better matches on this show. Mm-hmm. And we're going to get to the first of, I think, 2 or 3 matches that end up being better than the main event. But that tells you what it is. Because the main event was still a really good match.
Oh, yeah.
Just kind of fun. Anyway, we start the night with Pete Dunne versus Damian Priest.
Part 2.
And I make a note to myself here. Remember to mention, okay, so Damian Priest comes out and they're giving his entrance just all this awesomeness. They're doing what they can to get him over before he even gets in the ring, right? He's got that arrow, the invisible bow shooting the arrow into the screen that flames up. Well, the letters on the screen that say Damian Priest, they flame up, but they all do it like individually. And it seems like the last thing that really lights up is the center of the screen. And I'm like, if he shot a flaming arrow into the screen, shouldn't it start from the middle and, go towards the outside and spell out the name? Just a little bit of criticism, but...
He asked me to be nitpicky. I said yes.
That entrance sucks you in. He goes out there and he gets these poses for like a second and a half in a spotlight.
Yeah.
And then it comes back, and it's all going with the music. And then he poses in the spotlight and he shoots the screen, and then the screen lights up very oddly.
Yeah.
With this whole story they're telling of him being an archer.
Kind of takes you out of the moment.
It did for me, and that's my only negative note for this entire match.
Yeah.
Pete Dunne versus Damian Priest was better than the original and told almost the same story, only had a better conclusion, and it's probably not the conclusion.
What I really liked about it was the fact that now these two actually have a history. So they came in completely studied of each other, so they had to tweak their offense or even their defenses, and it turned into just a huge game of cat and mouse. It was one of those situations like I want to see what done, where he's telegraphing every move that somebody's going to make, and sometimes just letting them make it, just so he can set them up to hurt them in some other way, shape, or form.
So we've got the Holiday Chris Mace, our moderator. We've got Mark's Reviews in the chat room. We had him on last week on the Tea Party. You should go check out that video.
Yep, that was
really good. And we have the Cleaver Colin Andrew. Why isn't he a moderator? We should talk to Aaron. So why no SmackDown invasion, Colin asks. I asked myself this same question, but I feel like they don't consider it important to invade NXT.
I think we're at that
The
next week.
least they could do was send the OC. Besides which, the OC is big in two reasons. One, it is Raw or SmackDown invading NXT, but it is also three guys that moved to Raw and never went through NXT. They never been there before.
Yep.
So them invading is a big deal.
Strangers in a strange land.
We have seen NXT for so long that it is no longer a novelty when an NXT guy gets a push. It's almost required because all the guys that remain that haven't gotten pushed are all NXT guys.
Mm-hmm.
So it's no longer a big deal for somebody to come back to NXT that was already there. It is a huge deal for AJ Styles, Luke Gallows, and Carl Anderson to come to NXT.
And it had balls to say it's almost like a step down.
It is slightly less unbelievable that Luke Gallows did go to NXT to begin with, because he was made roster. You know, it's him coming back is not that big of a deal, but he came back with Carl Anderson, who had never been made roster.
Yeah.
And Carl Anderson at least should have gone through NXT, but he didn't. He got moved up to the main roster with AJ Styles, who did not need to go through NXT.
No.
That would have probably put a dampen on his debut in the Royal Rumble.
Straight to Royal Rumble he went. Number 3, right?
So
Yeah.
it would have been cool, but maybe next week we'll see, I don't know, the New Day or somebody invade NXT. I feel like it needs to be a big brawl, like a lot of SmackDown guys invade.
It was going to be the, that's going to lead right into the weekend of TakeOver, I'm pretty sure.
Right, where your go-home show ends up being SmackDown.
Yeah.
So we shall see. In the meantime, any other notes on Damian Priest versus Pete Dunne before I break it down?
I thoroughly enjoyed the match. Even like the stuff they were showing during the side commercial, there was a story being told with, you know, wear down holds and whatnot. Parts I did see, we kind of fast forward past a little bit of it. But they kept everything going, they kept the momentum going. There's a lot more aggression in this one, a lot more chops, a lot more kicks, and less grappling, but it was still a fantastic match.
Welcome, Gabriel Perez, to the chat room. How's it going? Yeah, this match, like, a lot of counters.
Yeah.
You talked about how they now have a history and they can tell a different story in the match, and they did. Like, they started the match with one of those typical babyface versus babyface where they're all dodging each other's moves and eventually it's a stalemate. They did it, but with babyface versus heel. Well, bad babyface.
Yeah.
In Pete Dunne versus heel in Damian Priest. But Priest counters a Hangman's Noose submission attempt with a deadlift vertical that then Pete Dunne counters with a knee to the head and then hits him with, what did he hit him? A X-Plex.
Yep.
This is minutes into the match. Like, I tried to take as few notes as I could because I knew it would get out of control. We see Priest with a choke slam into the corner of the apron onto Dunne. Not onto the apron, like vertically onto the corner of the apron. Priest counters a bitter end with a skull cracker and then a kick to the head, and then Pete Dunne goes outside and he runs to the ropes and lands one foot on the middle rope and does a plancha over the top onto Pete Dunne.
Who made the skull cracker okay again?
I don't know. I guess it's just a move now.
That's like two-arm concerto is all it is.
Now there's a spot where Dunne goes to run the ropes to do a backflip over Priest, but Priest catches him and hits him with a crucifix bomb for a near fall. And then, let's see, Priest gets caught taunting Pete Dunne at one point, doing the bow and arrow at his face, and of course Pete Dunne just pops up real quick, grabs his fingers, and leads him up. Now this takes Priest to running the ref into the ropes, and while the ref is distracted, huddling in the corner, Damian Priest goes for another low blow, but this time Pete Dunne was expecting it. He grabs his foot and then kicks Damian Priest square in the handbag.
No, dude, right in the taint. Like he's got that littler foot, so like it reached up right back there, right. Mm.
And then he does that flip rollover into the cross armbar and does the finger snap into a cross armbar for a very quick submission.
Yeah.
Pete Dunne wins.
Oh, Damian Priest did not hesitate to tap
didn't
out.
hesitate. And his shoulder, it looked like some torque. It was pretty wicked.
Yeah.
Mark's review says, will Velveteen Dream get healthy in time to take the final spot in War Games? I hope so, because the Dream, in my opinion, is underappreciated. Some people, like Jim Cornette, think the Dream is still green. I used to agree with you and feel like he was way less green, but then we saw him deliver a championship match live where Roderick Strong had to carry him through the entire title match.
Yeah.
And it clicked to me that he is very good when he's not under the pressure of being in front of a live camera. But he was new to that, and that was his first. We commented that it looked like he came out drunk.
I want to say also, like when we went to go see Takeover in Toronto, it did seem like Dream was off his game, even though he won the match. Like, a lot of what he was doing in the ring was just straight up sloppy. So, I'm thinking he still has work to do with live audience members, which, since we have 3 shows that are live now, like Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, he needs to get back in the frame of things if he's even going to get remotely called up. Or if he even wants to at this point. I don't think he should.
So while Pete Dunne is celebrating in the ring, Killian Dane comes out and attacks him from behind. And then he starts beating on him in the corner, and Damian Priest comes in and pulls Killian Dane off of him so that he can get some shots in on Pete Dunne. And Killian Dane is just like, what the fuck, dude? And he headbutts him.
Yep.
Just tags him in the head with his head, and it sends Damian Priest sliding through the ropes. And Killian Dane does some more damage to Pete Dunne. And then after a Vader bomb, he goes to leave, and Damian Priest attacks Killian Dane on his way up the ramp. And then Killian Dane lays him out against the steps and then does that running cannonball and then just leaves Pete Dunne and Damian Priest laid out.
So what do you think? Probably triple threat match at TakeOver?
I guess. I fucking guess.
Might as well.
Might as well.
We need some more matches other than these two War Games matches. Why not make a triple threat match between those guys since there's no championship implication whatsoever?
Maybe. So we get a graphic that shows Baszler, Belair, and Io Shirai versus Ripley, Tegan Nox, and Candice LeRae, and each one has the silhouette of someone not chosen for the 4th member of the War Games match. And I guess we're told that Dakota Kai is going to face Shayna Baszler, and we get Kathy Kelly in the back asking her, like, okay, first of all, Shayna Baszler commented, I guess, on Twitter and said that Dakota Kai was a wasted pick.
Yeah.
And Dakota Kai is going to go out there and show her why she's not. Did I get all of that?
Yeah.
That was pretty much everything.
That was the meat and potatoes of it.
And there's no... I mean, I know that Dakota Kai has evolved as a wrestler since the last time Shayna Baszler beat the shit out of her, but nothing's going to get me to believe that Shayna Baszler isn't just going to go out there and beat the shit out of her again.
Yeah.
Nothing. Not this, not nothing. Jerry?
I was already convinced that Baszler was going to win, or there's going to be some sort of funky finish involving everybody coming out there.
Yeah, something.
So. Yeah, there was going to be a conclusion to the match, and then there would be another match after that.
Well, Kai says here, she mentions what Shayna said about her being a wasted pick, and she says, see what she says when I kick her face off, and
yep.
Like, yeah, it might happen, but she's still going to lose.
I still think Kai delivers better promo than most of the women on the main roster. She at least had some believability in the words that she was saying, or at least sounded like she believed what she was saying.
I mean, yeah, and if she was out there with anybody else from the other side of the War Games match,
yeah.
I'd say she stood a chance, but not Shayna Baszler. We've
No.
already seen this. I don't care what her evolution was. She's not going to beat Shayna Baszler. So.
But in a little bit of a weird twist before we even get to that match, we have another women's match right before it.
Yeah, we get Tainara come out, and she is facing the, I'm assuming, debuting Santana Garrett.
Mm-hmm.
And
she's another one from Impact, I believe, and I think she was also in Lucha Underground for a little while.
Hey, whomever from wherever, she was really good as far as jobber fodder. But I don't know.
I think they wanted to give Tainara finally a decent win against somebody that was credible, and also kind of like reestablish that Tainara is a heel. Because they were really playing up this whole, Santana's father dying of cancer and how he brought her up into business and everything. They mentioned that a lot, and the only thing they really said about Tainara is that fact that she said she's more beautiful than the rest of the roster on her Twitter page.
She's pretty hot. I'll give her that.
Oh, yeah.
I think this match was here to debut 2 new movesets from Tainara. So we see this wicked running knee that she does to Santana, who's in the ropes, like leaning on the middle of the ropes.
It makes that shiniest wizard look just pale in comparison.
I mean, it was essentially a shining wizard into the face, but
it was great looking.
She knew just where to slap and how hard. Anyway, also she debuts this move. It's this triple judo throw where she holds on in between, so she gets her hat trick, and then does this version of a judo throw into somehow the rings of Saturn.
Mm-hmm.
And she didn't get a tap out from that, but she gets a
pin attempt, I think it was.
Yeah.
She turned into
Santana goes for this handspring moonsault, which was really cool looking, but takes way too much time.
It kind of surprises me. Actually, that doesn't really surprise me anymore. We get plenty of NXT or NXT UK stars now that come in, like to video packages or to a little bit of fanfare, but they'll still end up dropping their first match or second match even in Oliver Carter's case at this point.
Let's see, Colin Andrew is not a fan of Santana. Okay, well, I thought she was fine for mid-card jobber. She made Tainara look like she beat somebody credible, if not somebody established. So anyway, after this we get a video package for Tony Nese. We're going to see him later tonight. He is going to vie for the #1 contendership for the NXT Cruiserweight Championship.
Mm-hmm.
So good video package as usual. Yep, Tony Nese has a great package. After this, they show
there's a Joey Ryan joke in there somewhere.
They show Shayna Baszler getting ready, like sparring with
beating up the help.
Yeah, backstage. She doesn't need a promo. They just need to show her and remind you that, oh yeah, it's Shayna Baszler.
Oh yeah, it's Shayna Baszler. She's a beast. She's doing her thing. She'll be ready.
And then we get a video package for Angel Garza, who is going to be wrestling later tonight, but they didn't mention that he was the other guy in the Cruiserweight #1 contendership match. But whatever. Angel Garza, coming tonight. Giggity. After this, we get the match we were promised earlier, Shayna Baszler versus Dakota Kai.
Yep.
Yeah. And Jessamine Duke and Marina Shafir actually come out with Shayna Baszler this time, and I'm like, the only reason that's going down is so that after the match, they're going to beat the shit out of Dakota Kai, probably.
Yeah.
Because Baszler doesn't need them to win this match, and she's not going to use them to win this match, and she did not, in fact, use them to win this match. She won, of course.
There's a slight intimidation there just because of numbers, but skill-wise, not really.
That is not to say I don't have several notes for this match, but before I break this down, what were your notes? Thoughts?
I think Dakota Kai walked into this match with something to prove to not only to Shayna Baszler but herself, as Disney as that sounds. She's like, I'll show you, I'll show the world.
She proves nothing.
She didn't really show us much of anything she doesn't normally show us, but it was aggressive. She went full bore on it, got some really great shots in on Shayna Baszler, but there's never a moment where I was like, oh shit, Dakota Kai's gonna win this match.
Right.
So, and you can't have that, like, disbelief in, you know, someone and not get bothered by it after a while. But Dakota Kai really showed us something a little different in this, a whole bunch more aggression, and she did fairly well in this match, especially towards the end there when Shayna actually got the submissions on her, or was attempting to.
Dakota Kai did fairly well at the beginning of the match.
Yeah.
She got a lot of aggression out and scored a lot of kicks, but eventually
She wore
Baszler
herself
lured her
out.
into trying to go for a soccer penalty kick with Shayna on the outside running the apron. Well, Shayna grabs her leg and then just tosses her into the post, the ring post. And from this point, she gets her in the ring and starts working on that brace knee. Not the left knee like most wrestlers go for, but the right knee because it's got a fucking brace on it. And she's a ring just savant.
Yep.
She sees an injured body part and she goes for it. That's what you're supposed to do, especially if you're a heel.
The very hyena thing to do.
She does the Baszler stomp onto her heel with her toe down so that it rolled the ankle. Like, just brilliant. Let's see, what else? What else we got here? Baszler counters a running face wash with a kick to her head. So Dakota Kai does go for one of her signatures, but right after she kicks Dakota Kai in the head, she falls into another corner, and Dakota Kai finishes the run and goes for the face wash to kick Shayna Baszler's face off, but kind of more hits her in the face with a knee.
Yeah.
And it was the one with the brace on it, so I figure actually that's probably a better move.
Yep.
Probably. So after this,
better chance of keeping her down at this point.
Baszler, let's see, catches her with the Kirifuda clutch. Dakota Kai counters it and then gets up and goes to do, I don't know, one of her swinging neck moves.
Yep.
Something like that, or a kick to the side of the head or something. But
she pulls her right back in.
Yeah, Baszler counters it right back into the Kirifuda, and she rolls towards the rope, and Kai almost gets an arm to the ropes, and Baszler smartly just uses her leg to tie up her arm and keep her from getting the rope break, and she taps out. Submission victory. And yeah, of course Shayna Baszler was going to win this, but like I said, Duke and Shafir get in the ring and they attack Dakota Kai, but this brings out Rhea Ripley and Candice LeRae, who run down to kind of jog down to the ring.
LeRae tries to make it down there, but she ends up getting caught by Io Shirai right as she's coming down the ramp and thrown into the screen.
And in the best fight I've seen out of Marina Shafir, she actually holds off Rhea Ripley.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this doesn't make any goddamn sense, but sure, whatever. She got the drop on her or something. I don't know. We didn't get to see that part.
I think what happened was she actually got distracted by the fact that Candice LeRae wasn't behind her anymore, so she looked behind her long enough for Shafir to get the upper hand.
So we've ostensibly got 5 on, 3?
Yep.
At this point, because Tegan Knox didn't come out, I don't think.
No.
And instead, we had Mia Yim come out with a kendo stick and just whack away.
I was about to say, because Bianca came out there too.
Oh yeah, Bianca was there.
Mm-hmm.
So we had most of the women we were going to get so far in the War Games match, and Dakota Kai clears everybody out, and she stands tall in the ring, and so now we know where this is going. You were hoping Mia Yim, sorry.
Yeah.
You were hoping Mia Yim was going to come back and somehow end up on Baszler's team.
Yeah.
Which would make sense following through from the storyline where they offered her a spot on the team.
It could be a twist that ends up happening, but I doubt it at this point.
Nope. Not after using a kendo stick on him.
No.
Now it looks more like Dakota Kai might join. But we'll get to that.
Yeah.
We get an interview with Tommaso Ciampa, who refuses to tell Kathy Kelly who the 4th person on the team is going to be. He said, you'll find out when it's necessary.
I think it's going to be Gargano.
Well, I think it's going to be Gargano versus Finn Balor at the pay-per-view in a one-on-one match, but whatever. Anyway, we get a video package for Isaiah Swerve Scott. He's going to be wrestling tonight, but before that, we get our match with Tony Nese and Angel Garza for the number 1 contendership for the Cruiserweight Championship.
Yep.
And this match was fun.
Oh, it was great.
Really fun.
It's like one of those matches on that other show Noah's always talking about. You got to see a lot of like innovative offense out of Tony Nese. Pretty much power moves more than anything else, and Angel Garza just being swarmy and suave, and he's everything that's great about the Garzas, everything that's great about Guerrero. He's everything great about Mexican wrestling. All just kind of rolled into one.
Davey says, yikes, 9 dislikes already. See, that's what happens when you insult people that troll you, Jerry.
Yeah.
They create 8 separate YouTube accounts so they can dislike your video 9 times. However, we are finally up to double digits in live video chat. Because I know I'm 1, and we're at 11. So
dislikes really don't bother
10
me.
viewers. So 9 dislikes, but we, for the first time, have 10 viewers. So
yeah.
To me, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Let me dig into this match a little bit. Because I wasn't expecting too much, because, I don't know, Tony Nese doesn't seem like much of a cruiserweight. And Angel Garza, for as much as he's, Mexican and a luchador, he's not too much of a cruiserweight either.
No.
But they put on a really good match, and actually Tony Nese does a 450 in this match, so
yeah.
Shut my mouth. He goes for a sunset bomb off the top rope, and this is where we get the disrobing of Angel Garza, because he teases it, but Tony Nese doesn't let him finish it. He ends up chopping him when he goes to pull the pants, and instead of getting the sunset bomb, he grabs the pants and ends up power bombing the pants in the middle of the ring.
He power bombs the shit out of those pants.
That's pretty funny. Let's see, and Garza hits a middle rope drop kick to sort of take the advantage, but not for long. But he hits a pump handle Falcon Arrow. I thought that was really cool looking. And a single person ticket to Mayhem. So out of a tombstone pile driver position, he throws him up and hits him with a lung blower, a double lung blower. So
very sick looking maneuver.
Nese hits a tornado DDT outside, throws Garza in, hits a 450 splash, gets a near fall. Because Garza gets like 2 toes on the ropes. And then Garza hits just, oh my, okay, so like he's got Nese set up like a power bomb, but he front flips forward into a handspring to come back and then pick up Nese for a power bomb and sits out and gets a near fall. That was fucking crazy.
Yes, it was.
Let's see, he goes for the lion salt, and Nese tries to counter it. Well, not lion salt, it's that moonsault where he stops on the middle rope. Anyway, Nese tries to counter it, but instead of kicking Garza in the chin, Garza grabs his feet, swings him down, and kicks him in the face. And then what does he go after this?
He learned from that last match.
Yeah, he ends up hitting what they called the wing clipper, which is essentially an inverted Bubba Bomb. Like, literally an inverted bubble bomb so that the head is under his arm. And gets the 1-2-3 pinfall victory.
So next week, that's what we get. Garza versus Leo Rush for the Cruiserweight belt. The NXT Cruiserweight belt.
So, after this, Garza goes to celebrate, goes up the ramp, is posing on stage, and Leo Rush's music hits. And he comes out, and I guess he's a full-fledged babyface. He goes to congratulate him, claps, and extends his hand for a handshake, and Garza just smacks him in the face.
Mm-hmm.
Just smacks the taste out of his mouth. But Leo doesn't get unhinged or nothing. He's like, all right, I see how it is.
All right, that's cool.
That's cool.
Whatever.
And we're going to get that match next week. Leo Rush versus Angel Garza for the NXT Cruiserweight Championship. And that's going to be awesome.
It should be.
We get an interview backstage with Rhea Ripley. This is where she tells us that Mia Yim is, in fact, the 4th member of her team for War Games. And she says, sorry to Dakota Kai, she just didn't make the cut. And Dakota Kai runs off crying, probably.
All sorts of dejected. So.
Yeah, so this is where it looks like Dakota Kai might end up somehow turning heel on him and becoming the 4th member of Baszler's team. Although, I don't know if I'd like to see that either. Honestly, just let her go cry. Our next match is Isaiah Swerve Scott versus Dominic Dijakovic. I'll just finish my notes here. This was fucking awesome match, man.
I called
awesome
it from
match.
the get-go that this was going to be incredible. Because you have the, like, conflicting styles, yet they're extremely similar. Because Dijakovic can move around in that ring like any cruiserweight can at this point. And for a guy that's like 6'7", 275 pounds, that's impressive. And then you have Swerve Scott, who's actually, in this match, pulling German suplexes and power bombs and everything else on Dijakovic like they're nothing. I'm not sure how he's doing it, but it looks good. It looks great. I even likened him at one point to Shelton Benjamin. I think he's going to be the next Shelton Benjamin here. He's always going to be at that upper cusp, but never really reach the top ring. He'll probably be like, maybe North American champion, but like I'll never see him be the NXT champion.
Right.
But we've also said that about Gargano as well. So there's really no telling. But with Swerve, sky's the limit with the dude. And Dijakovic, same way, as long as he stays injury free.
Yeah, so far what we know out of Swerve is that you're not going to get a bad match.
No.
So there's that. And Dominic Dijakovic just continues. We've seen relatively meh matches out of him, but it's mostly been because he doesn't have very high, or opponents with high expectations, like jobbers.
Yeah.
Those matches are just, I mean, they make him look good, but in a repetitious way. So yeah, eventually it gets meh. But in this case, so you combine his sort of athletic agility with Swerve being able to do things in the ring that are just like what you imagine popcorn would do.
Yeah.
If it was a person just popping, just like
pop pop.
From that roll that he does into a flatliner to just half of his moveset. So my first note is Swerve kicking Dijakovic's leg, one of his legs, his right leg, out from under him when he's on seated on the top rope, his legs on the middle rope, and instead of Dijakovic like getting caught in a drape, like Swerve super kicks him in the face and then DDTs him.
It was almost like a jumping, stalling DDT too.
Yeah.
He got some extreme torque on it.
Yeah, like Dolph Ziggler does before he smacks the dude's back and comes back down.
Yeah.
That kind of DDT. With Dijakovic's legs, one leg draped over the middle rope. So that was pretty cool.
Awkward landing, but it was great.
Dijakovic catches Swerve up top and pulls him over into, just like pulls him over his head, like with, like, opposite of how you would think. You would think he'd pull his head over his shoulder. No, he pulls the other end, grabs the tights, and yanks his ass over his shoulders. Goes for a feast your eyes, but Swerve rolls him up into a near fall. And then, where was I at? Dominic Dijakovic hits that discus big boot, and a choke bomb gets a near fall. And Scott counters the choke bomb into a poison Rana.
I still think you should call it the watch and discus.
The watch and discuss. Okay.
Yeah, the discus. He's up to feast your eyes and watch and discuss.
So he hits that inverted Rana, and while Dijakovic is like, I guess, trying to collect himself on the apron, hits a double stomp onto his chest, onto the apron, which was crazy.
I don't think I've seen that.
Him do the double stomp? I haven't seen him yet either.
No.
And then hits a lariat onto Dijakovic that actually turns Dijakovic inside out. Holy shit.
I was to say, he threw every last bit of his weight into that clothesline, and it nailed.
Now, I think Dijakovic answers him with one, but in the end, he catches Swerve, who's doing a roll into something. Maybe he was going for that flatliner again, I don't know, but catches him mid-air and hits the feast your eyes. 1, 2, 3. Dijakovic gets the win. But I kind of saw that coming. I mean, Swerve is great in the ring, but is he going to beat Dominic Dijakovic? I mean, come on.
No. Dijakovic also needed the win coming off this, especially since he's not involved in the War Games match. So
we get a video promo for the Forgotten Sons. And thank God this is the last video promo.
Yep.
And I've already forgotten what it was about.
But
one final note. Next week, we are going to get Mia Yim versus Io Shirai in a ladder match. Winner gets to determine the War Games advantage.
Yep.
Whose team gets the first additional person to come in. And we're also going to get, they remind us, the Cruiserweight Championship match next week.
It looks like I'm betting on Shirai for the win on that one.
I really don't care. It's always more dramatic when the heel team gets the first guy in, but it really doesn't matter because you can't get a pinfall until everybody's in the cage.
Yeah.
So we know everybody's going to get in there and something's going to tip the scales one way or the other.
What's going to be on top of the ladder? Is it just going to be a number one paper or?
So how are we going to determine in the men's match who gets So is this the only match that we're going to have? Anyway, let's nitpick.
It's kind of it's convoluted at this point.
Or we can move on to the main event.
Yes, we can do that.
The 6-man tag match. AJ Styles, Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, the OC versus Matt Riddle, Keith Lee, and Tommaso Ciampa. And this match was about what you expect.
Who didn't walk into this match thinking it's like, oh man, this match is going to be horrible.
For most of the match, I just wanted to watch.
Yeah.
And I didn't take a lot of notes.
You didn't really need to.
No, it wasn't stuff that you haven't seen before. And I'm not a huge fan of the 6-man tag match anyway, because it always has to conclude in a way that everybody gets taken out. Because can you imagine one team getting a single person's finisher on another guy, and his team, both guys, just standing there in the corner while he gets pinned 1, 2, 3? No! One of those guys is going to come in and try and break up the pin, or at least they should. And so it always ends up breaking down into a very familiar format.
Oh, like the melee at the end, and you end up having those two people left in the ring.
Yeah, so I don't know. It was okay. I really would have rather seen at least 2 or 3 of the other. Pete Dunne versus Damian Priest, easily. Tony Nese versus Angel Garza, believe it or not, yeah. And Dakota Kai versus Shayna Baszler, easily. And Isaiah Swerve Scott versus... almost all of the other matches I would have rather seen as a main event here.
Yeah, and they also had the same distinction as well. There was a finish.
The best spot in this match is where Matt Riddle comes in and just starts taking out everybody.
He waylays everyone.
He's hitting just signature moves on both. I think it was Carl Anderson and AJ Styles, one right after the other, back and forth between them, just crazy. And I've got other notes like Lee hitting a pounce onto AJ that takes the ref out. This was, believe it or not, kind of midway through the match. Because shit keeps going even though the ref has just been waylaid.
Yeah.
Ciampa's going for the fairy tale ending, but Finn Balor comes out, distracts him, and ends up taking out, I think it was...
Matt
Riddle. With that single arm bar or single arm chicken wing.
Yep, the
DDT.
one way pretty much Kenny Omega's finisher. And
then AJ Styles goes for the Styles Clash in the ring, but instead Adam Cole appears out of nowhere and super kicks him in the face. And then while Ciampa's on the mat, he hits him with the last shot. Now, what's interesting here is when it looked like AJ Styles and the club was on top, Finn Balor answered AJ giving him the too sweet with the finger guns.
Yep.
But then when Cole was on top, he did the Undisputed Era and he got, or maybe he did the too sweet. I don't know. Whatever he did, he didn't get an answer from Finn Balor.
He just got the almost nod. You had 3 versions of Bullet Club leaders staying there at the ramp and in the ring, and it was just an awesome moment. But at the same time, it left us with no winners in this match because it was a no contest. It is what it was. It was pretty much just a way of getting everybody into the ring to fight, and that was it.
Yeah, for the match to end in no contest, took it from almost great to just barely good.
Yeah.
So with that being said, that brings us to the end of the main event. And here on What's NXT, we'd like to rate the main event using the General's 5-star rating system. So out of 5 stars, where do you rate this week's main event?
I'm gonna say I'm gonna go ahead and say 3.25 because like it was the OC's for like it was historic because it was them coming into NXT for the first time. So that automatically makes it pretty damn cool. And with the opposition that they had, that was a great pairing with Ciampa, Lee, and Riddle. Even though you didn't really see any of them doing moves together. But then coming off the back of a great show, like front to back, we got all the promos we needed. We got some solid matches to a point where, like you said, any of them could have been a main event. Any of them could have been, like, the ending of a regular NXT program that we used to have. And we would have been satisfied and probably would have ranked it pretty high as well. But the fact that this had no finish and didn't really leave us with many questions because also, like you said, we'll probably end up getting Finn Balor versus Johnny Gargano at War Games. So why is Finn Balor even out there right now?
Right.
Unless he's being teased as the fourth member of the NXT, but I doubt it.
Have Undisputed Era, they already have 4 members.
Yeah, the Undisputed Era does, but not Ciampa's team of him, Riddle, and Lee.
No, but that doesn't make sense because he.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He took out Matt Riddle, so yeah. It's confusing and it was a non-finish, and I have to agree. I'm giving it the lowest I would give a good match, and that's 3 stars. And I'm going to agree with you though. I'm going to bump it up to 3.25 off the back of a great show because the rest of the show was great. Yeah. Even the Tainara match, it wasn't too damn long, and it made her look pretty good.
It was a nice little showcase match, is what we got out of that.
Brought the crowd down halfway through the show. That's what you needed.
Yeah, you need that little cool down for the rest of it.
So I'm going to go with 3.25. Agree with you again. And that brings us to the end of this episode of What's NXT Live. Please join us tomorrow for the NXT party where we will be reviewing episode number 68 of NXT UK. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure who's going to be on the big screen. If any of our NXT members want to be up there, we might be able to get Mark's reviews up there again.
Who knows?
But if you would like to help us review a future episode of NXT UK, come have a spot of NXT with us. And you can find me on Twitter. Go to nodq.com/Stefan. That's STEFAN. Or if you just want to look me up on Twitter, it's at Stefan R. Osborne, OSBORNE. As always, the R stands for restricted. Fuckbomb. You can also find the gentleman on Twitter.
At NoDQGeral, and also my Facebook group Armbar, all capital, ARMBAR, exclamation point. Different discussions, memes, whatever. Come join. Don't try us on Facebook, though. It won't end well for you.
Yeah, just come follow me on Instagram, where I have no content, just a profile pic. I've got like 50 or 60 followers. It's crazy. Help me get to 100. That'd be even more hilarious. At osborne.stefan. And speaking of shameless self-plugging, if you want to help, basically help me pay for the show.
Yeah.
Pay for upgrading the show. Like the ChromaCast, the green screen, which isn't up yet, but I will get that up and figure out what to do with it. Nobody has any suggestions on what to put on the chroma screen. But if you have one, leave it below. Also, leave your email address if you don't have, social media. If you just want to be on the show, but you don't have any of that crap, just do that and have Skype, and we'll get you on the show. Mm-hmm. And find me on Patreon at Stefan R. Osborne if you want to, again, help the show.
While you're also online, go ahead and go to nodq.com/merch.
Yeah, but if you don't have the ability to help financially, just with a few clicks, you can help us. Just share this on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Share our show with your friends that may like wrestling and may like watching NXT or NXT UK, and therefore may enjoy watching us bullshit about it.
Yeah.
So,
especially our friends overseas at this point, because it's afternoon for them.
Yeah. Share us in the UK. And if you like our video, click the like button over here underneath me. And if you like all of our videos, do yourself a favor, click the subscribe button over there underneath Jerry. And we know you're watching this on No DQ, so click that bell icon, which will let you know when Aaron goes live, and it'll also let you know when we go live for this show.
Mm-hmm.
So we go live every week because we hit over 100 on our channel, Aftermatch Wrestling. That's all one word, AFTERMATCH, Aftermatch Wrestling.
Oh, you didn't do space this time. How crazy are you?
I knew you weren't going to follow, so...
Oh, I waited.
Anyway, that's where the NXT party goes up first and in HD, so if you like that show, you can find us there. And we're going to try and go live with it again this week, so click the bell icon if you subscribe to our channel, and it'll let you know when we try. And if it doesn't succeed, we are going to record it as a backup and put it up later, but that's going to be us giving it a go.
Yep.
Again, because why wait on a certain number of subscribers? The ones that watch every week, maybe they want to watch us live if they can. So we're going to try and do that again this week. So catch us tomorrow in our attempt. Other than that, I think that's all the plugs.
Yeah.
So for the gentleman, Jerry Slaughter, I am the Wizard of No DQ, Stephen Osborne. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you in NXT time.